Hello YouTube, this is Sam Gerrans from Quranite.com, and today I would like to talk about why I don't believe in the Hadith. The Hadith, or Ahadith to give it its plural, is a large body of hearsay written down between 100 and 200 years after the time of the revelation of the Quran, which, according to Sunni Islam at least, is part of the faith. Now, there's a huge contradiction here. On the one hand, the Quran is supposed to be complete and perfect, and yet we are told by Sunni Islam that there is something else that you need to believe instead, or as well. Well, actually instead, because when it comes right down to it, the religion that we all know and love as Islam is based entirely upon Hadith, and I can demonstrate that. The entire corpus of the premise of the religion of Islam as intoned by the main Sunni schools rests upon 5 so-called pillars. Nowhere in the Quran, nowhere, is there mention of pillars of any kind as relates to a religion, and certainly not 5. So there's no mention of this in the Quran. It comes from a Hadith. The initiating declaration, known as the Shahada, is nowhere found in the Quran. The Shahada in Arabic is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, which translates as I bear witness that there is no God but God, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. Nowhere is this statement found in the Quran. Nowhere. It doesn't exist. So the basis for this religion called Islam is the Hadith literature, and Hadith literature is what you need to believe to be a Muslim in the traditional or popular sense of the word. It's nothing to do with really believing in the Quran. The Quran is an add-on. They make a big deal about the Quran. They talk about the Quran and they endlessly pore over it and read it, and sort of read it out loud using what is called tajweed, which is a form of singing. But they don't actually read it to understand it. They believe that it can only be understood with reference to this huge, voluminous library of later hearsay.
القرآنيون الذين ينكرون السنة.
لماذا تنكرون السنة؟ لماذا تردونها؟ قال لك لأن القرآن هو الذي يوحد ولا يفرق، ونحن إذا التفتنا حول القرآن قل الخلاف بيننا.
And let me ask you a question. Do you pray? Well, if you say yes, let me ask you another question relating to the first question, which is, how do you pray? What do you recite while standing and in ruku' and in sujood? And do you know that how many rak'ahs do you pray Dhuhr versus Asr, Maghrib and Isha, etc.?
No devout Muslim who fears Allah, who seeks Allah's pleasure, who wants Al-Firdaus Al-A'la, will ever go against the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
So if you deny the Sunnah, how will you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
الأخ يسأل هل يجوز تكفير هؤلاء؟ والجواب نعم. فالذي ينكر السنة ويقول بعدم حجية السنة وعدم وجوب الأخذ بالسنة هذا يكفر.
Abu Muhammad al-Barbahari in his kitab Sharh al-Sunnah, beautiful, he mentions something beautiful and nice to me. He says, look, this one saying, anyone who denies one confirmed sound hadith of Rasulullah has denied Islam. Just one hadith, not the whole Sunnah, one hadith. that is confirmed, that is sound. He in fact has denied Islam.
The Sunni Muslims will say, yes, but you see, the Quran is the book, but this is the revelation, but Muhammad, his job was to explain this to us. Well, nowhere does we really find this confirmed in the Quran. What we find confirmed in the Quran is that it's God who guides. God either guides or he doesn't guide, and the Quran is guidance. And nowhere does it say, you, Muhammad, go around teaching something other than this Quran and expect people to follow you. In fact, the reverse is true. You should warn with this Quran. So, of course, Muhammad operated as a human being as well as a prophet, but the thing that he received from God as a messenger is what we have in the Quran. What he did as a human being, if there is anything of that in the hadith, and frankly I don't know, okay, well that was his perception. The Quran claims to be a guidance. It claims to be complete. It claims that God will protect it, and also it claims that Muhammad will say on the Day of Judgment that his own people have disregarded it, have turned away from it. Now, I'm not saying what you should believe, but I'm telling you why I don't accept the hadith. I see no reason to. Frankly, I think it's a waste of time. The Muslims will also say, but you can't understand the Quran without the hadith. When was the last time you tried? I have tried, and I've managed to do it. You've had, 1400 years to do this. How do you know if you've never tried? So basically what it boils down to is people not doing due diligence, not doing their full analysis, and not doing what the Quran tells them to do, which is to consider the Quran with care. What they're doing is they're following in their father's footsteps. They're following what their fathers told them is true, and the Quran addresses this very clearly, as anybody who knows the Quran will know. That the Quran says, but what if their fathers knew nothing? Well, I'm not saying that their fathers knew nothing. I'm saying that I've done my due diligence and I have found answers to my own satisfaction. I didn't require mullahs. In fact, I found mullahs and hadith and the religion of Islam a gatekeeper against the Quran. It was the biggest single hurdle to be overcome once I'd come to the Quran, was to understand that if I was going to do any real research on the Quran, if I was really going to study it and give it the attention that it requires, I had to ignore the religion of Islam, because frankly it was just getting in the way. That's why I don't believe in the hadith. And I look at the results. I look at what has the religion of Islam really achieved in the world in the last, 1,000 years. I mean, of course, there were great scholars, etc., in Islam, but that was 1,000 years ago, and life has moved on since then. I'm talking about now. Obviously, there are some decent people who do happen to believe hadith. Well, okay, good. There are some decent people who believe all kinds of things. There are decent people who believe in Catholicism, but it doesn't mean that what they believe is correct. And it certainly doesn't mean, and this is really my primary point, that what they believe, let's say for example in Catholicism, is in any way reconcilable with the contents of their foundational scripture, in this case the Bible. The same holds true for the religion of Islam. The Quran does not describe a religion called Islam. Islam itself is simply a word which means submission to God. Are you submitted to God? I think you know if you are. Abraham in the Quran, God tells him to submit. He says, I have submitted to the Lord of the worlds. He doesn't say, oh yeah, I've become a Sunni Muslim of the whatever madhab, and I pray at these particular times and I hold my hands in this particular way. No, this is rubbish. And I think any intelligent person knows this. It's just we've been lacking people. Well, actually, we haven't. There are people who've always stood up and said this. But I'm explaining why I don't accept it. And I don't accept it. I really don't care if I'm the only person in the world that doesn't accept it. I don't. It's foolishness, and obvious foolishness. And worse than being obvious foolishness, I grew up in a society which is obviously foolish. So, Islam has no monopoly on stupidity, believe me. But it's particularly pernicious, obvious foolishness because it detracts from the Book of God, and it means that people judge the Book of God incorrectly and upon wrong evidence. It's a tragedy that God gave us this revelation and we have been denied access to it by people who frankly don't follow it but claim monopoly rights over it. That's really it for now. Like if you like, comments if you have something to say, and subscribe to get more each week. And remember, life is short, eternity is long. If you want good trees, plant good seeds.